to remind everybody that today you're getting the industry perspective. Tomorrow, we're meeting at the Central Library, just a few steps down. You're going to be hearing specifically from recruiting managers from companies that belong to these sectors, and they're going to be sharing with you what they look for. Because what is important as you're considering your next career is to really understand that it's not about one size fits all, one resume, hand it over, why didn't they call me back? So just remembering that tomorrow is part 2, of course, of today. And we are going to continue now with another industry sector. And an industry sector that was a revelation for me because I've been privileged to already be part of the conversation that the next gentleman is going to have. So Joel Beatson is the Executive Director of Landscape Alberta. And when somebody would talk to me about landscape, I'm a gardener, I love pottering around. I thought, landscaping, you take a shovel and you dig a hole and you put something in the hole. And then I was privileged to listen to Joel and I went, oh my God, I could not be working in this industry sector. So you're going to understand again why technology becomes important. Joel is a great friend, a great colleague. His background is in marketing and communication. He's been part of Landscape Alberta for the past 2 years, and Landscape Alberta, believe it or not, has been around since 1957. There's people in this room that were not born in 1957. And Landscape Alberta is involved in every aspect of the horticultural and landscape industry. Nursery, sod production, landscape construction and maintenance, lawn, tree care, retail garden centers, and industry suppliers. And we're going to be discovering with Joel in the next few moments the opportunities for careers that exist in this sector. And I know they need good people right away. So, Joel, take it away, my friend.
Thanks so much, Nicole. I don't even know where to stand. I think I want the pillars between people. My mother always told me I had a face for radio. Thank you, Nicole, for setting this up. There's been some amazing synergies already. Sean talking about supply chain management. That is a massive issue in our industry too, and even more importantly so because our products often are live. So a truck sitting for an extra 6-10 hours kills what's in the back of the truck. And you know, there's obvious logistic issues there. And truck drivers are definitely an area for growth in our industry. And interestingly, you know, the way we make connections here and the way Eric's talked about things that are very synergistic, and I'll touch on them again through my presentation. But Sean and I actually graduated from the same marketing program in Windsor, Ontario. Had some of the same teachers, so it's a very small world. Although we had no idea who each other were before today. So careers in the landscape industry, it's a very broad and much like Sean's industry, there's no barriers to entry. You have a great chance here to be financially independent, take a pick of as Nicole touched on, a massive variety of jobs. You get to work in a healthy environment outside most of the time. We actually see a trend is a lot of people in second careers that come from finance, IT, are tired of sitting in office space, and at about 40, 45 years old, they decide to make a career change, and many are choosing landscape horticulture as an option. There's a wide variety of careers available to you. You know, we always need hands on shovels. but it goes into technicians and technologists. And we're in the middle of an application process to have college programs accredited as technician and technologist programs. We have landscape architecture programs. There's a wide variety here. And maybe most importantly is you get to do something that creates a legacy. We also are connected to agriculture and the products we grow. But unlike most of the rest of the agricultural products, our products continue to live on much past the time they leave the farm. So a tree might grow on the farm for 3 to 5 years. But that tree can continue to grow for 100 more years past when it leaves the farm. And unlike any portion of agriculture, is when you're talking about edibles, as it leaves the farm, it gets either consumed or turned into a product that gets consumed in a relatively short time period. Our timeline is almost infinite. So what is Landscape Alberta? We're a voluntary trade association as well. We represent about 305 members directly, about 500 employers overall across the province. A little thing, and Nicole did a very good job. We represent nursery producers, garden centers, sod growers, greenhouse growers, lawn care companies, and landscape contractors in every variety there. I like to call ourselves the hidden gem of the Canadian and Albertan economy. In Alberta, we're just under $2 billion a year economic impact, employ about 17,000 Albertans currently. What I find amazing, and I've been in the industry, in the horticulture industry for about 15 years, working for the different various trade associations. The growth in the industry has been 10% a year growth for the last 20 years. Can anyone name another sector that has grown as consistent? Never a dip, never a slowdown. It's been an ongoing path to growth. And when you're in the horticulture industry, you can use the words like grow and plant seed, do all those fun things, and it gets really punny really fast. And those are some, they're in your presentations, but you sort of see where, yes, there is. You see, nationally we're about 130,000 employees across Canada, full-time equivalent employees, and compared to the automotive sector, which is about 550,000. So we are a relatively large industry and continue to be relatively unknown, which is why I come to events like this. And and Eric talked about this, and Sean did as well, is by 2025, our projections are 40% of our current industry is retiring. So we have a massive influx of need, but as we look at the baby boomers like Nicole, who love gardening, it is the #1 leisure activity in Canada, and has been for the last 25, 30 years, is the baby boomers are going to start to retire, which means, and as they age, there's going to be an increased level of service. So what we actually also see in that same 10 years projection to 2025 is 40% of the current industry is retiring, and the need for landscape services and horticultural services is going to double in the same time period. So by 2025, there'll be 35,000 Albertans working in this industry. Labor shortages and skilled employees is the #1 issue for our industry right now. So we can't find enough people today when we only need 17,000 people. I'm not sure what we're going to do when we need 35,000 people in this industry in 10 years. So this is where we stand. And we actually see Gen X and Gen Y on top of the baby boomers very much enjoy green spaces, enjoy their outdoor living. What they don't want to do is spend the time that baby boomers did. They want it all and their cake too. So Gen Y and millennials are the ones that invented work-life balance, and the baby boomers in the room will say, no, you work and then you have life. That's the balance. And so the areas I should be updating this. There's a lot of money coming into this industry currently. We have not actually seen a slowdown that the rest of Alberta has seen. Business is booked very solid through all of 2016. There might be a little bit of a turnaround come 2017, but because we're the last person on a lot of major construction sites and any development work, our work tends to be at the tail end of all projects. But what we're now calling it is, instead of just green infrastructure, is living green infrastructure. If you look around the city of Calgary, any place you see a tree in Calgary, it has been planted there by a person. This is prairie and river valley. If you go back in the archives, and if you look at City of Calgary pictures from the early 1900s, there was not a single tree in the city. This is all man-developed living green infrastructure. And so we look at and when we talk to potential career people about the value of working in our industry, it starts with safety. Cities that have green spaces involved in them actually have lower crime rates, lower amounts of graffiti. We look at health spaces. There's good research out of Europe now that a patient that can see a tree from their hospital bed will recover 15% faster than one that can't. So if people are spending less time in hospitals, it actually lowers our healthcare costs. People that have green spaces near and in where they work are more productive and healthy. Energy, we actually are a part of the solution to the carbon problem in this industry. Proper tree placement, a proper lawn at a home will actually offset about 11 cars worth of carbon a year. But whether enough homes have enough green infrastructure to do that, or living green infrastructure to do that, a tree properly placed at your home can reduce your heating bills in the winter and keep the house 10 to 15% cooler in the summer. Trees in downtown areas reduce what they call the urban heat island effect, where we have so much concrete. This is a way to bring that back down. We're actually starting to see in some cities already, including Calgary, but starting in Vancouver is this: every new building in the city of Vancouver must have a green roof or a living green wall incorporated into it. And then, even at the most selfish level, a property landscape home increases the value of that home by up to 20%. And it's almost 2 to $1. So for every dollar you invest in your landscape, you get $2 out of the value of your home. So Nicole touched on this. This is the nursery side, and production side is our agricultural component, and then that feeds up to the contractors and the garden centers in a very distinct way. What I want to focus on is, and this came out of the last time I did a talk like this with the talent pool, is connecting to other sectors and careers. You see the trades and technology, science, business, and art all sort of connect in one place, which we call horticulture. And I should mention, when we say horticulture, we're generally referring mostly to what they refer to as ornamental or environmental horticulture, and at the Ag Canada level, non-edible horticulture. So we don't grow things that people eat necessarily. We grow things that have other environmental impacts. So for science, if you've got a background in farming, obviously, horticulture is a connection. Biology, ecology, hydrology, water management is the new big thing. Droughts last year in BC, we really saw where this is heading. and Alberta's probably 10 years off from really having a crisis as well. And that's where we connect to living green infrastructure. It's, if you talk to and with no offense to any engineers or technologists, is when they talk about green infrastructure, they're talking, and they talk about hydrology, dealing with stormwater, they just want to get it into the pipes and make sure there's enough infrastructure to control the pipes. What landscape horticulture offers is a way to stop that water from ever getting into the system by creating bioswales, which is you model the water and know where it's going to go, and you create plant material that will slow and control the water flow before it ever gets to the stormwater systems. A much more holistic way of looking at our environment, and not just gray infrastructure is incredibly important. What we want to see is that living green infrastructure becomes just as important to the vitality of our cities. Agronomy, which is the study of soil, civil and environmental engineering, and practical mathematics, all have career paths. You come from another trade background. Carpentry, there's an amazing amount of wood carpentry, beautiful work. Down there, masonry, stone work, and brickwork that occurs in our industry. Electrical, landscape lighting is one of the hottest growing areas of landscape horticulture. Is people want to not just enjoy it when the sun's shining, they want to be able to see the landscape at night as well. There's some beautiful parks down here. Barb Scott Park, just a few blocks from here, that has some beautiful landscape lighting built in. Plumbing, which would be the irrigation section of our industry, that is also a massively growing part of our operation. And obviously, if you have any background in equipment operation, we do that too. And if we go back a few slides, if you see where our members are based, it is in the biggest cities across Alberta. I was interested to learn a couple years, maybe about a year ago, in talking to Mayor Beatson in Edmonton, is that Alberta is now the most urban province in the country. 73% of people live in urban or suburban areas in this province. And that's where all of our jobs are generally too. So we are connected to agriculture, but our jobs are where people live and where cities grow. So we offer a really unique opportunity to work really close to home. On the business side, customer service, operation management, HR, project management, marketing and sales, all of a lot of the same things Sean connected to. IT, a massive growing part of our industry. And then it's also an incredibly entrepreneurial type of industry. It does not take a lot of capital to start a business in this industry once you have the technical know-how. And so generally the career path you actually see is people spend 5 or 10 years working for somebody else and then start their own business. So it is a massive way to continue to do that. Our average member is 5 to 10 employees. We are a small business, but that makes up $2 billion in total economic impact. And then you get into the design and the planning side of things, and when you have this connect to art, you have a design drawing background to be able to get into landscape design, landscape architecture. University of Calgary is actually just starting to offer a master's in landscape architecture program here. Before then, there was only 2 other programs in all of Canada. And so most of the landscape architects that started, that lived in Alberta, actually went to the University of Salt Lake to complete their master's in landscape architecture. So it's amazing to actually have a program in our backyard finally. Merchandising at the retail level, retail garden centers. If you haven't been to an urban garden center lately, you'll be very surprised to see the change. The trend is that now only about 40% of sales are plant material in garden centers. It's much more moved into the giftware section, fashion. A good friend of mine's garden center in Saskatoon carries some European clothing lines, and they're the only Canadian distributor for several European clothing lines, and they do as much in women's jeans and purses as they do in plant material over here now. It's just a fabulous thing, and they're turning into destinations where there's cafes, and you spend the day at the garden center. A very European direction to where we're going with that. And then you get this connection to nature. Is people just, there's not a single person I've run into in this industry that does not love what they do. It's hard and it's dirty, and sometimes you got to be outside when it's raining. But everybody comes home and loves what they do. And so, I know I'm on a shot clock here, but I'll try to, and this is all in your handouts, but I'll flip through these quickly, is that there's just, these are job titles that come from the different sections. All of the ones that are involved in, the growing level, garden center, and these are just a sampling, certainly not everything. Estimators, draft persons, project managers, stonemasons, carpenters. People management is the biggest thing in our industry now. Ground maintenance. If you have a background in chemistry or biochemistry, integrated pest management is a massive growth field. And integrated pest management is very much looking at the proper health of things to prevent pests and diseases from getting to the plant material. But it's a holistic approach. You start with properly installing it with enough soil and nutrient management, and healthy plants do not tend to get stressed and then get sick or have pests come by. And then the last possible option is chemical control. But there's a whole life cycle before that. Parks and Recreation, the University of Calgary, or the City of Calgary, is just a massive partner, a world-class, an absolutely world-class city in terms of how it treats its parks. They're actually launching another year of their Retree program, and last year they planted 17,000 trees across the city to deal with Snowtember in the fall of 2014, when about 20% of the tree canopy in the city of Calgary was lost. So they're showing a great leadership role. They're unbelievable careers in cities and parks. This is one of the growth areas. Next time I'm through the city of Edmonton Airport, they have a beautiful living green wall in the city, in the airport in Edmonton now. And the amazing thing about it is a lot of buildings are putting these in now, putting in these green spaces, but they run their HVAC systems through that. So it actually purifies and cools the air before running it through the system. So they're reducing energy costs, but they're also making sure that the air is cleaner by running it through plant material first. The floriculture level greenhouses, Lethbridge area has the most sunlight units per year of anywhere in Canada. So it's a massive place where where greenhouses are moving to, and opening huge plants of greenhouses, because when you're in an indoor environment, there's two things you control: it's heat and light. So when you have lots of light in an area, you only have to worry about the heat. Your energy levels stay quite low. Irrigation contracting, we talked about already. Golf courses, of course, are a subset of our industry. Botanical gardens, arboreta, librarians exist at those places, and curators and tour guides and all those other fun things. So in summary, the landscape industry, if you have a passion for plants and people, it's obviously a great place to start. A love of the outdoors, a desire to learn, strong work ethic. It's not sometimes always easy work, but it's beautiful stuff. There's a picture here. This is one of the new LRT stations, and that's a storm water management pond, which is what I'm talking about. Is that you store the water from the site right on site, rather than sending it to pipes. They're sending it to a naturalized, man-made wetland. So it actually creates animal habitat as well. And we talked about the entrepreneurial spirit and this environmental responsibility is that you're going to create a greener, healthier place for Canadians to live. Pathways to success. As Sean talked about, too, we are an unregulated industry. We have apprenticeship programs, we have technician and technologist programs, we have our own certification programs. There's university and college courses, there's apprenticeship programs, but none of them are required to work in the industry. So you can get your foot in the door very easily and get on a career path. The apprenticeship program, a lot of the training is offered in the winter, so we continue to be somewhat of a seasonal industry. Most people in the industry now are either, if they're seasonal, they work full-time hours in about 8 months of the year. So it's just like having a job as a teacher. You can have 4 months off a year and get paid for the full year. I am continuously surprised by the number of people in the landscape industry that spend a significant portion of their time in Mexico or Arizona or Las Vegas through the winters, which is maybe I picked the wrong job running the association instead of actually working in the industry. We're the 50th grade to be a Red Seal program in Canada. Have a fabulous program. The Horticulture program at Olds College, about an hour up the road, is perhaps the best horticultural school in all of Canada. They are just absolutely top notch, and I'm paid to say that now. But when I worked nationally, it was my favorite program in all of Canada. So the industry also offers its own voluntary certification programs. So if you start a career and start a job and want to make it a career, you can come back and get your own designations. And there is a credentialing program that is solely based on your work experience. So it does not require any formal education. You can come back and upgrade your skills and make yourself more valuable. And so I left you, there's some websites that you'll include in there. This new greencareerscanada.com just launched in January. Absolutely fabulous resource for information for all the careers. It's much like the sector group website that Sean talked about. Landscape.jobs will actually find you job postings in the industry. We're about a month into the season already.